this one out in Minnesota. His band from Illinois was Ellis. And so we got to talk to most of these guys. And I got to jump on Facebook. He's actually playing on this record here. He's playing on a couple of the cuts where I needed a second tenor player in addition to
Attention.
So this is what I conceived of as the real point of getting together, is just to hear the stories and record them, because that's really important. And I am told that some of the stories written down there on the memorabilia table are fantastic. So I look forward to reading those.
That's the guy who has all the stories.
Let's start with stories. Well, yes, we defer to Mr. J.P. Cunningham then for story time.
I got some stories. A few of them. Okay, I'm J.P. Cunningham. You all know me. Let's start off with Schlarbaum. The winter of 71, I get a call from Schlarbaum. Are you still interested in doing the circus? Yeah, sure. Why not? He says, okay, be in Comac, or be at LaGuardia. Get a flight into there. I'll have somebody pick you up at LaGuardia and take you out to Comac, rolling out of an arena. 1972, March. Is that better?
Yeah.
So then he goes, okay, I get the flight in there. He's bring 2 pair of black pants, a couple pair of white shirts, ties, black. And then I'll have somebody pick you up and take you out to the Long Island Arena. So this old guy, Ricker McConnell, an old tuba player, he picks me up all the way out from LaGuardia to Comac. Don't feel bad if you can't play circus music, because a lot of good musicians, they just can't make it. So he had me up afraid. So he pulls up to the arena, about 40 miles away, and I see this guy playing euphonium out of the Arvin's book, whipping through the thing like crazy. Long black hair, named Abel Cortinas. So I thought, oh my God. I said, maybe he is, maybe I'm not good enough, you know. So I see the Big Al, the lead trumpet player, Al Pavlovich from Ohio. So I tell him what this Ricker guy told me. Don't listen to that old fool. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Didn't you play in the Navy? I said, yes, I did play in there. Well, all we play is marches and gallops. You can do that shit. I said, well, what about that guy? Oh, listen how good he is. He said, he's not even a euphonium player. He's a reed guy. He can play any reed instrument, flute, clarinet, saxophone, it doesn't matter. So what the hell is he doing this for? Well, he could have played with Lawrence Welk, but he wouldn't get his haircut. He says he won't last long here either, because he won't get his haircut. Schlarbaum's going to make him get his haircut, and he won't do it. So he said, don't pay any attention to that guy, no matter how good he is. And he was good. He memorized the book in a week and a half. So did I. But unlike me, he was so stupid he wouldn't want to bring the book out. Well, that's not a mistake with Schlarbaum, because he'll just change the tempo. And so one day it happened, he changed something around, and the kid couldn't keep up. And besides, he hadn't got his haircut either. So, and I blamed it on the haircut, but later on, I really think he had so little respect for circus music. He didn't give a shit about taking the book out there at all. He didn't like anybody on the show. So finally, Schlarbaum changed the tempo. He screwed up big time. So then Schlarbaum says, play, you motherfucker, play, play. He stood up and he said, fuck you too, and all this stuff. So anyway, I looked at Big Al and I said, what do we do now? He says, keep on playing. Just keep on playing. He's gone. And he was gone. So that was the first time I met Schlarbaum. I knew what was going to happen. The only time Schlarbaum ever screamed to me, and he never did really scream to me. He just hated trumpets and second drummers and second trumpet players. That's the one he could always replace them, but not the first guy. So, and he would never say anything about the trombone section. He liked us too. And Kennedy was a good player, really good player. So, and I was pretty good back then. So anyway, he changed it. He wanted to do a song, a different tempo. So we played this thing in a stupid tempo. So he asked everybody what they thought. Right down the line. Oh, Chuck, that's beautiful. We got to keep it that way, Oh, I love it, Chuck. Brown doesn't Chuck and Schlarbaum, Finally he gets to me, and I'm so stupid. I say, well, it sounds a little bit Ricky-Ticky to me. Well, Schlarball, nobody talks to him like that. So he looks out to the center ring and he turns back and he goes, well, Ricky-Ticky bus ticket for you too if you don't like it around here. And that's the only time he ever said anything to me. But there's plenty of stories with Schlarball, and I don't want to even go into most of those. And then, of course, I was there for the last 3 years with Schlarball. He was the leader for 9 years on the circus, almost as long as the mouse. But anyway, they had enough of him. His tantrums and everything, screaming, bending horns, throwing his trumpet out in front of moving seat wagons, things like that. He was just crazy. He was an idiot. So he didn't last long. And then Jimmy Al comes on. Well, most of you have heard the story when Bridget Pugh made the big mistake of coming up to the bandstand in New Orleans. Jimmy Al, we had to augment the band by 4 people, Bourbon Street people, and they can't read music. Back then they couldn't read the music. But so Jimmy Al wanted to have a rehearsal. Well, he couldn't find any band members, of course, and he's drunk. So we're all pounding into the band on the bandstand, and all of a sudden Bridget is the big house. She wants come-in music. We don't play come-in music. So she comes up there, big mistake for her, and and the bandstand's 2 feet off the ground, and she comes up there. Can't you play something? Can't you do something? Well, even the German turned red. So we knew what was going to happen. Don't say anything to Jimmy Al. He's pissed off anyway. He puts his hat back on his head, and he goes right up into her face, a couple inches from her. Why, you no good effing piece of shit. Words I don't even remember. So simple, so bad. Even the German turned red. So and I couldn't believe that. And these new, so she goes, I'll go get my husband. You go get that whiny cocksucker. I don't give a flying F. And the people in the band, right in the seat wagons, right beside the bandstand, a couple feet away. What the hell's going on? So she runs out. She literally runs out of there. He didn't care. So do you think Pew would come in? No. Art Branning, if anybody remembers him, with a cane, he comes walking in. They go behind the bandstand, and we had a little blue curtain there. Jimmy Al comes back. Give me those books. Give me those GD books right now. All those music books. And of course, the New Orleans guys, what the hell's going on? So Johnny, he collects all the books and leaves, goes behind the curtain. And then, anyway, no, Johnny Harriet was there. Johnny Harriet was there with his family. And he goes, can't you guys play something? And these guys in New Orleans play what? We don't know what the hell's going on. So Charlie Fardell, I don't know if anybody remembers him. Maybe Gerbil might know him. But he ended up playing on Bourbon Street too. Well, he was the lead trumpet player. He went back and got the books. We finished the season, but that was Jimmy Al's only time on the circus. And another story with Jimmy Al that I remember quite well. His wife, Kay Hannaford, was Kay Al then. Well, she was washed up and drunk, just like Jimmy Al. So several times I took him to the hospital. The horse supposedly kicked her, but he hit her. I don't know what happened. But anyway, she had this little sick little act in the center ring. Sherry, my wife at the time, was working in there too. My first year with being married. So Jimmy Al was arguing with Kay again. So all of a sudden he goes, and now, because they were drunk, he was drunk, for her next big trick. Instead of say Kay Hannaford like he's supposed to do it, Kay Al will now do this, and she goes, fuck you mother. This is right on the show. And we're playing, and he goes right back to her. If you do, it just goes back and forth. But they had 1 year of him was enough. So that. Then Bertini comes on. Well, I got along really well with Bertini when he was a side man. But once he became later, he changed a little bit, It wasn't quite the same. So one day he comes out there, I come out to the bandstand. And Shoat would remember this. Piece of music there. He had a crescendo on the first page. Decrescendo. Crescendo. Decrescendo. The whole damn chart, And I said, who the hell did that? Bertini's sitting up there. And Shoat goes, well, Charlie did. I said, what the hell's this? And Bertini goes, what are you complaining about? I said, you forgot one. Which he did. So he says, give me that damn music. And he puts it on there. He put the crescendo, whatever, he forgot. And Bertini says, well, if you don't like it around here, you can always quit. So I was smart enough not to scream back at him. But I turned to Shoat and I said, well, I was here before you, and I'll be here when you're gone. He really heard me. I didn't scream it out, But I know he heard me. So then years went by. years went by. And he could have fired me right then. What am I going to do? But he didn't fire me. So 20 years went by. And I saw Bertini and I said, I know you heard me when I said that shit. He says, you could have fired me. He says, JP, I'd never fire you, man. I love you, man. That was his remark. I said, I liked the Bertini when he did that. Okay, Bertini 78 and 76 to most of 78. Then Nannygoat took over. And there was one good story about the Nannygoat. I think I might have told you already. But I invited him to my parents' house in Washington, PA. My dad was working. My mother was there with her mother, my grandmother. And probably had a little lunch or something. So after we left and I went back home, she says, my mother said, do you know what your grandmother said to me? And I said, no. That guy, if I was 40 years younger, I could really go for that guy. Talking about Nannygoat. She loved Nannygoat with the long red locks that he had up there, But, and I remember another story too. It must have been in '79 when we were playing Sarasota. You were out with some girl, Came back, and Merle Evans was there. They had mic'd the band, because Merle Evans was there. Goat blew up. Nobody said anything about mics with him, and everything. But anyway, that was Goat's last year. I don't know why you left her.
Grad school.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe, because of that incident.
No.
It wasn't that. So then Dar came on. I guess some good stories of Dar. Very quiet guy, very good leader. I had 8 band leaders I worked under. And I told my dad that one time. I said, Dad, I've gone through 8 band leaders. Son, maybe you're the problem. I said, Dad, I love it. I told Virginia that, and he said, because he's probably right. So,
You didn't give him the rag or anything?
no, I didn't give him the rag. No, my dad, no. He was right anyway. So, anyway, Dar was there, and I had a special talent. I could play my part, but every time Tina Story was juggling, and she was a piss poor juggler, and she was cross-eyed, and she juggled with CC, and he was cross-eyed too. So, of course, we would be playing the act, and every time she would drop something, I would be playing all these little smears there. I never missed a beat. So I go down there one time, and she's talking to Dar. He's sitting on a seat wagon with, I don't even need her for that one. She's sitting on a seat wagon, bitching about something. Well, I come up there, she goes, you. I said, what'd I do? Why do you keep playing these funny little notes, when I'm juggling? I said, well, Tina, when you stop dropping the clubs, I'll stop playing those funny little notes. Dar laughed, and he loved it. So then another time, Warp. Says he's not here, I don't care if he's here or not. But anyway, Warpo marked my music. We played Impossible Dream for the Rolling Globes. They go up so far, these Verdue girls, you remember them. They go up part way, they come down. Impossible Dream, we played that thing like 14 times. Well, it's in unison. I'm not playing that damn thing twice. I played the first time, Shoat plays the second time. So I played it, I come out to the bandstand, and Warp had marked my part. Play both times, underline, Bullshit, I'm not doing it. Warp turns around, he goes, you're playing it both times. I said, no, I'm not. You're playing it both times. Well, Dar, who knows where he's at. I said, I'm not doing it. So when we get to that part, for Impossible Dream, I'm playing the solo. Shoat's playing with me the first time through. He's not supposed to, but he's playing anyway. Second time through, Shoat's playing by himself. I'm not playing. Warp turns around. Playing you, mother. I said, screw you, forget you, Just shit went on for, the rest of the show. So then intermission comes around. Dar's back on the seat wagon with a big mug of black coffee, smoking a cigarette. So Warp's down there bitching about something, probably me. So I go down there and I said, and he goes, you, Cunningham. He says, I put on your part, play both times. I said, who died and made you a band leader? I thought Russ Dar was the band leader here. And Russ goes, he's got a pretty good point. I loved it. Then I thought, well, next year Warp might be the band leader. He'll never invite me back. Yeah. And it turned out that Egg was the band leader. I love that part. And I remember where I got that line, who died and made you boss? I sort of planted that in there. I have the full 59 episodes of The Honeymooners with Jack Gleason, that shit. In the second episode, he needs money. He goes to Alice to give some money. I'm not going to give you any money. Who died and made you boss? So I probably remember that For what? Because I didn't care whether you liked that shit or not. I'm not playing both times. Is he playing both times? Is that asshole playing all the time? No, of course not. So then Egg comes on. The one good thing I remember about Egg, he gets married to Judy Elliott. And then I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, Egg, you can confirm the fact. She said, well, if you go back on the circus, our marriage is over. So Egg didn't come back. She came on the circus. Oh, what is that kind of shit, you know? Was that true? Is that the ultimatum, or was there something else?
My memory is terrible. I don't know.
It probably was
a great
true.
story.
It probably was true, you know. I thought, what the hell is this? And Egg doesn't come back, and she comes back, you know. So then Chowder comes on. Well, I told this Chowder the story over, but you guys probably didn't hear it. So we went to see Big Apple Circus, and who was the band leader again? It wasn't Bob Amata.
Rick Albany.
Rick Albany. So anyway, we always thought we had the better band than Big Apple, which of course we did. So I figured we were close to them, so we go to see the circus. And this is one of the best lines I ever heard from anybody. So we're there, and we don't see Albany at all. But we listen to the band, and they're pretty good, you know, but they're not as good as us. So Chowder goes, you know, talks to his wife, puts the music together and everything. Well, where's Rick at? Where's Albany at? Oh, he's been sick for about a week or two. In fact, he was so sick, we had to pack him on ice. And Chowder goes, what is he, a fish or what? All I could do was hold it in and somehow. And she took it seriously. No, he really is sick. He's like, damn, fish is what he is. So that was a good thing with, I have something else here with Chowder. Oh, no. Yeah, I think Chowder was a leader. Maybe Egg was the leader. I was uncontrollable by then. You know, I didn't want to listen to anybody. Non-conformist that I was. So Bertini was visiting, and I think Chowder was the manager. He says, you got to talk to JP. He won't listen to us. He won't calm down. He plays too loud. He won't do anything. He won't listen to anybody. But he'll listen to you, Bertini. He'll listen to you. So Bertini, they were all sitting in the sleeper waiting for you to come over there. Got changed out of my outfit. I go in there, they're all sitting there waiting for Bertini to give me the riot act, you know, calm down, JP, all this shit. So we used to have some incidentals we're talking about. All of a sudden, Bertini goes, JP, I got something I gotta say to you. Well, they're all on the edges of bunks for him to chew me out, you know. He goes, JP, keep it up. You sound great. They went, oh my God, thanks a lot, you bastard. Keep it up. I said, thanks, Willie. That was it. Then Mouse comes on there. With this Mouse. It actually lasted 10 years. I think he was the band leader for 10 years. I couldn't believe it was that long he was on there. So one day he comes up to me.
Well, he got married through the circus.
Hey, very Lily, and then they had 3 kids or something.
Got bull in.
So he got bullied by that. That's a good one, Gerbil. So he says, this is ridiculous. I'm the band leader, and you make more money than me. I said, well, think about it, Mouse. I said, I play in the band. I do cherry pie. I'm a mail agent. I have my illegal pools. I work a lot harder than you, so I make more money than you. Well, he didn't like, you know.
And you are the poacher.
And I'm the poacher.
And you must pay.
And you must pay. So I think about it. And then he told me one time, he said, wait a minute. He said, I was born right near the arena in Comac. That's where he's from. He said, wait a minute, 1972. I was 13 years old or whatever he was. Were you in the band? Because he used to cross a couple yards and go right into the arena. I said, yeah, I was there. I thought, well, shit, man. Here he is, my band leader. He was just a little nothing when he first joined the circus, you know, when he first started or second Clyde Circus. So he heard Schlarbaum, you know, hearing all this shit that happened back then. Schlarbaum, the complete maniac. But you could tell, Schlarbaum, Jimmy Al, even though they may have been alcoholics. And I will say this about the 72 band. I was the youngest one. I was the youngest one when we started. German came on later that year, same age as I am. He'll be 74 pretty soon. So he couldn't get out of Canada. He had to get his green card. So he didn't. He missed all of Comac. But we had to jump from Comac to Charlottesville, Virginia. I heard the elephants woke my ass up and everything. I look out, and it's early in the morning. The tent's laid out there. The German's sitting in his little chair playing the tuba. And you can see steam coming out of the horn. It was beautiful. That's the first time I met a German. Anyway, these guys were all alcoholics. Every one of them. Drunk as could be, Schlarbaum included. But they were not alcoholics before the 4:30 show. Or the 2 o'clock show, whatever. One more story about Schleppel. I forgot this one. We had this young kid came on, second, he was going to be playing trombone. Before he played one note, and we had to augment the band there too, someplace on Long Island. He grabs his trombone and it breaks right at the frame, you know, but breaks, and he can't play his horn. Well, Jim Lambert was one of the guys sitting, playing any kind of German music, Oktoberfest stuff. He sent somebody in to sleep and he gets some duct tape and tape it shut. His parents were there and he stumbles through the show. He didn't play very loud. But the shows were 2 and 8, so we had plenty of time between shows. So his parents were still there. They went out and bought him another trombone and everything. So we had a little picnic or a little get-together. Well, Schlarbaum drinking a few beers. And he puts his arm around the kid. Don't worry, to the kid's parents. I can't remember what his name was. Don't worry about him. I'll take him under my wing. Everything's going to be fine, you know. Well, of course, when the show comes around at 8 o'clock, Schlarbaum's completely drunk. So we start to play the show, and, you know, I play. It's okay. This kid plays very softly, you know, very softly. And Schlarbaum hears this, turns around. Play, you motherfucker. Play like he's playing, you know. The kid petrified. So the show ended. He packs everything in. He's getting ready to leave. Even the German were trying to help him stick around. Well, in the meantime, Bertini had left to go out and with his friend Charlie Vinyl. If you ever heard about Charlie Vinyl, it was part of this Argosy rehabilitation thing with Bertini. So we talked this kid into staying. So all of a sudden we hear Bertini and this Vinyl coming back. Knows nothing about playing music. He doesn't give a shit. So he comes in there and he goes, "What's going on, Vinyl?" Well, the kid was going to leave and everything. We talked him into staying. And Vinyl, fresh out of Argosy House, "You can't hack it. Why don't you just run home and suck on your mama's sugar titties? If you can't take it around here, why don't you shut up?" So the kid just, he left and his bags were already ready. I said, "Well, thanks a lot, Vinyl. You asshole, you don't even play in a band. Now I got to break in somebody else." And we had another trumpet player. Well, a couple more stories. Another trumpet player, we called him El Stego. This guy was from Corpus Christi, Texas, I think he was. He came on the show. He only lasted a couple weeks. But he had a little bar of soap. He never took a shower. He never got washed up. It didn't matter. Just a little bar of soap wrapped up in a Kleenex. And he would wash his hands, wash his face. Yeah, it really got bad. And he never washed his clothes. So I'm sitting there. I'm right behind this asshole. And it's so hot. And this fly lands on him. To begin with, I can't breathe. But this fly lands on him, and I'm at my bell right on the back, and I'm blasting away. The fly never left. The fly never left his body. So finally, we were playing at the Texas by that time. We were playing Corpus Christi, and Big Al goes, "Well, that's good. This asshole's going to go home and take a shower, finally. You know. And he won't take one around here." So he went home, came back the next day. He still had the same shirt on. Didn't take a shower, didn't do shit. He didn't last long. Then we had another trumpet player. This is 72, before Bertini came back on 71. He came on in 71 for half a season. And he got in an argument with Schlarbaum. He left. The first thing Schlarbaum said to Bertini was, "There's a barbershop down the road. You know, get your hair cut," in other words. So anyway, this guy came on, and Big Al, we had a day off or something, or the night off, and this guy was going to play second trumpet. Big Al laid out the whole program. "I'll do this, you do that. Everything, you know, this is the way it's going to work out." We all went to the movies. We got up the next morning. The guy's gone. He didn't play one stinking bloody note. So Big Al goes, "Where the hell did he go?" The German never went to bed. So the German said, "Well, I saw him about 3 or 4 o'clock, and he decided to leave." And Big Al says, "Well, didn't you stop him?" "I don't give a shit." Big Al says, "Well, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot." But that's my stories. Who's next?
I'll do in between.
In between.
Let everybody go.
Actually, I really wanted to check because there's a volume control that turns on the speakers that are on Palm Avenue. And I just thought, boy, I really hope we're not projecting this.
Nobody was out
They
there.
couldn't handle the greatness.
Police will be on their way. Just a quick memory of Beach Mountain. because there are a lot of themes. Looks like Annie has wandered away.
And hard.
Yeah,
Yes, let's go.
yeah, but Beach Mountain, which was on the route card, I think, as Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And my kids know that if you want to make Dad twitch, all you have to say is Boone. Oh, jeez. It was just a nightmare of a stand. Multiple trucks blew up trying to get up the mountain. The elephants had to walk because they couldn't.
The lot was messed up.
The lot had been fashioned on the side of the mountain. They had poured in gravel and dirt to make a big flat place. Great, but it was still loose. So when they pounded in lots and lots of stakes and tried to raise the 4 poles, they got 1, 2, 3, and poles started coming down. I was sitting up on the side of the mountain watching it, watching my friends run in terror from falling center poles.
Hoover's cat got loose, one of the cats got loose.
Exactly, because it was loose gravel. As they were bringing the cats out after the show, going around the corner, the cages tipped over, the dagger board opened up, and Mitch, I believe it was, one of the big lions, got out.
Yeah.
And we were playing the show. We had gone on. Jimmy James called me over and said, there's a lion loose, but just keep playing. Oh, great. Which I think is Sluggo's nightmare, isn't it? Where the tiger would come at him, and he would say in terror, "I knew you would come." He's not here to deny it, so there it is. It's on tape.
And Sloan fell down there too. Sloan fell on the stilts.
Sloan, bit during the grand finale, fell into the audience. That was where, I forget who it was, said something unseemly about Marie France, and Zampion, her husband, chased him, also slipped on the loose gravel, sprained his arm, and he was, of course, a really great juggler. So just multiple things going wrong. That was where the clowns filmed that movie, All This in Goomba 2.
The Wizard of Oz thing.
The Wizard of Oz thing, yeah, and the defunct Wizard of Oz theme park that was up on
Supposedly
the
they're
mountain.
trying to redo it.
There were cool things there. There was a road race between 2 of the people in the band, and
There was a great golf match there too.
only one of the racers made it back to the circus on the same day. I think you spent a night in a car.
Or did you like to get your hair cut by Marie France?
I loved getting my hair cut by Marie France. Marie was really sweet.
She was really sweet.
Yeah.
How can you not like that?
But the memory,
There she is.
hey, she's back. The memory with young Annie Rawls.
Hey, hello, Annie.
Who would hang out with the band. She was a cool kid, about that high. I can't remember how old you were, but this was 84 or so, I think. I don't always have the smoothest presentation skills talking to people, but I could talk to kids. I told Annie that, Judy Weigle and I have decided to get married. And Annie was the first person that I told. And Annie was quiet for a moment and looked inward, and then said, well, that'll be difficult for you. because you are a weak person and you'll have to deal with a lot of fights.
She thinks he remembers that.
And yeah, sorry, but that was somewhat terrifying because boy, she had me dead to rights, and yeah. There was a point to this story. I can't remember what it was, but that was Boone. Oh, just the since I've left the lion loose, they got a ring of guys with sticks and stuff, and Mitch was starting to get really uneasy because he was never outside. You know, he was in a cage, and he was happy in a cage, and this was freaking him out, so he was starting to get kind of hyper, and Ma Hoover, Lois realized that one of the guys with sticks was Georgie, who was pretty young then, and she said, "What are you doing here? Georgie, get in the Suburban." So Georgie went over, opened the door to the Suburban, got in, Mitch climbed in after him. And Lois said, "Georgie, get out of the Suburban." And they left Mitch in the Suburban. He was happy. He was, oh man, thank you. I just couldn't stand it anymore, and they got the cage fixed and all that. Yeah, as I say.
Didn't the Suburban roll backwards and the windshield popped open and he got out again? I thought that happened there.
Serious? Wow.
Once he went into the Suburban, it rolled backwards and it busted the windshield somehow, and he came out through the windshield.
Yeah,
Maybe that's right.
we were playing shows.
Yeah, I heard that
I don't know. That's
We were on the wrong mountain. We should have been 2 mountains down.
Yeah, we should have been 2 mountains down. Anyway, that's a bit of stream of consciousness from me. Who's next? Say what?
Just saw Mitch outside.
Mitch is outside. I knew he would come.
I got one good thing I gotta say to Andy.
Yeah,
You wanna do your beach
absolutely.
Oh, no, go ahead. This is one thing, Andy won't remember this, but,
Did we go?
Andy, you won't remember this, but I was the mail agent, so I took the mail into the office, and your mother said, "JP, I wish you were the band leader. I like you." I said, "I don't like whoever the band leader was. I don't like him, but I like you." I said, "Mary," I said, "if I was the band leader, you wouldn't like me either." I said, "It's different when you're the band leader, you know." And anyway, that was that story. So. Who's next?
I'll say something.
Come on, Shoat, get up there.
Yeah. Shoat. JP.
Yeah.
So, dropped out of music school, and it was because Pete told me there was an offering in an open place in the circus. Dick Chase had left, so I get hooked up with Charlie Bertini. He said, "Yeah, get down to D-Land." He said, "Fly into Daytona, but take a limo to the train station, just walk across the tracks." But no one was there. Nobody that I knew. I ended up staying in the prop sleeper the first night and eating at the nasty cookhouse. Finally, Bertini and the band sleepers pulled out of the barn there, and we started having some little rehearsals there, but the other trombone player wasn't there, because Jay would always meet us at the first town, I guess, you know, but we're taping music, putting on sheets and playing and all that, and we get ready to leave. Duckface drove the ticket wagon. I wasn't driving yet, but we did come around. They did get us all to drive licenses, but I didn't drive then, and we broke down, blew the engine. It's like 380 miles to Fort Walton Beach, on the side of the road. 17 hours, no food or water. Nothing, tow truck breaks down, so we finally get to the lot, and I've yet to meet this guy, the other trombone player, JP, and he takes one look at me, he said, "Kind of looks like a shoat." What the hell's a shoat? I found out later, it's a young hog that's been castrated. Once we started rehearsing a little more, I remember this. The music, it's like fly shit on this. And we're reading through stuff. Okay, we'll play it down to the bridge, and then that's how we'll play this one. And we're playing something, and JP reaches over and turns the music upside down. He says, "That's like a shit." And we took off, and it was kind of hard to get used to the band sleep a little bit. But finally, I did start driving. Had several mishaps. there, started driving the water truck, pulling the Donecker. They gave me an experienced driver the first night, but he didn't know you had to reach down and change the fuel tank. Durham to Roanoke. Going up the hill about 2 in the morning, run out of gas, no emergency brakes, so the trailer just rolls back into the guardrail. So, a few hours go by, and nobody stopped to help. And the thing finally cranked up, so I let the other guy drive. And we continue on in the mountains, 2-lane divided highway, big grade between them. Start bumping along, I look over, he's sleeping. We start to go off the side here, and the truck flips over and blocks the whole highway. A lot of you know the story. Other people try to get by, and then the semi try to squeeze in the rocks, gets against there, and blocks all the traffic. Johnny Pugh comes out, the sun's coming up, and nobody on the Donecker, no Donecker, no water, no marquee tent, and everybody thought I was driving it when we left. But it was quite an interesting year. Wanted to get to know Bertini, and one of the best bands I ever played in. And it could be challenging working for him. He's a little intimidating a bit. And our first 3 shows Saturday, halfway through the second show, I had nothing. I turned around, I said, man, I'm right in front of you, I can't even hear you. But it came around. It was a good band. Listen to tape. It was a good first year there, but Tex and I one day got a motel room in Indiana, and we came on the lot. That's the day this 4-year-old kid stuck his hand right in the lion cage in front of a whole seat wagon full of people.
Crawfordsville.
Ripped his arm right off.
Arm came right over.
And we heard the commotion and just saw the kid fall back.
He was in shock then,
Yep, and Count Nichols gets on. Back then we had the sound system with those big horns. The way I remember it is he's asking if there's a doctor in the house, but it sounds like there's a tiger loose. And then people say, what, there's a tiger loose? I think me and Butt went up to get ice, or me and Duck.
It was you and Duck.
Yeah.
Put his arm on ice, right?
Yeah, they couldn't reattach the arm.
Crawfordsville, yeah.
Yep. So the next jump, I think it was down to Bloomington or something, 2-lane road. That's when that D-ray tried to pass a bunch of people and wrecked. The car went underneath. I think it killed the doctor's wife and his 2 kids or something like that. It was pretty bad.
Branding had to fix that one.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, but it was quite an experience those first 5 years. I thought I'd do a few years and go back and get my degree. I ended up marrying a circus girl from the Harriet family, and I'm on my 2nd trapeze girl now. But I think I counted it up, even from maybe a 1-day circus I've played, 24 circuses. And some of them ended up finally playing on the Big Apple Circus afterwards, but you name it. And even the Harriets had their own circus, but it wasn't the path I thought I was going to take, but I wouldn't give up any moment of it. You know?
Who's next?
Somebody got to get
Who's got a story?
Forget it. I'm already
Get
saying.
Dutchman out there, get Gerbil up there.
It's too much for me already, but I'm gonna finish the Beach Mountain one.
Get close to the mic.
Okay, Beach Mountain. Okay, we get there, right, and we're getting told, we're big golfers now, by the way. We all love golfing because it's the only place you can't see circus people. We go out everywhere, we actually got good. Anyways, it's got a beautiful golf course too. And Span, or whatever the fuck that dude's name was, is, oh, you do whatever you want here, everything's for us. So all of our golf crew, remember we went to the clubhouse, which is some hoity-toity joint, and they say, you can't golf here, you guys have t-shirts on. It's like, oh yeah? We all went back and we put our show clothes on. And we walked in there with fucking tuxedos on. Remember that shit? So, what are you gonna do now, motherfucker? I can remember the tee was like on the top of this giant cliff, and the hole's like way over there, and we're like, take that flag out, this baby's going in. Anyways, there was a bar at the top of the hill, on top of all the other shit that happened there. We go to this bar, right, and close it, and walk back, and there's nothing else to do, so me and Mark Chowder Ellis, who are king of all men, I can run to the top of that bar and back faster than you, motherfucker, for $100. No buck and a biscuit this time. I thought I was a cross-country dude, so I'm gonna kick Chowder's ass. And we're running, but we're really not running at all. We're running like from here to that table and stopping until we hear each other's footprints. And, oh shit. Go for 3 more steps. It's straight up fucking hill, man. Oh God, there he is again. Get to the top, I start coming back. All of a sudden, he doesn't sound as close. It's getting foggy out. I round the turn. There's like houses everywhere. All of a sudden, no more Chowder footprints. It's like, yeah. Come running in, some band guy has strung toilet paper between the 44 and 34. Come running across, break the finish line. It's like, yeah, $100. We wait, start drinking more. No Chowder. I don't know how many hours that was. We all go to fucking bed. Do you want to tell the rest of the story? Because it's way too freaking good. All right. I got 10 more, but we'll go back. Tag team. All right. Go for it.
So coming down that hill, I saw Pete, and I thought, I think I can catch him. I'll just let him think that he's winning the race. So I get down there, well, they had people staged at different spots. Well, I get down to the bottom of the turn, it's either left or right, and there's nobody there, and I went, oh shit.
And it's foggy too.
Shit. I said, it's gotta be right. No, it was left. And so I come screwing around, pretty soon I'm like, I lost. Okay, I lost. I gotta figure out how to get back to the lot. Listen. Nothing. Nothing. What do I do? Okay, I'll knock on this guy's door. He opens up the window. Nothing. And he won't let me in. He won't let me talk. Can I use your phone? Can I get anything? No, you can't. So I'm walking around aimlessly, up and down a hill, gravel road. I don't know where the hell I am. Finally, I see a car parked down the road. I went, I'm tired. So I tried the door handles. Oh, it's open. So I go in, take a nap. Pretty soon I hear, douche, douche, douche. I went, steak driver. I gotta be close. So I get out, and sure enough, local PD. They go, are you the guy that lost the race? Yeah. Yes, sir. They go, well, get in the back. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you not bring me up too close to the circus? And I just walk in, they go, nope, we're going to the ticket wagon. Anyway, I get back to the bunk and I see him come out. And it's like, oh, shit. Yeah, I owe you.
$100.
So that's that story. I'd say I got to think of another one with Pete. It's pretty good. So my first year, he's driving the 34, and so I'm taking rides with him. I'm going to ride with somebody else. Pretty soon, for some reason, I found these bottle rockets.
South of the border.
South of the border.
And so I got some bottle rockets, and he's like, yeah, you typical Pete Fish, man, shoot one of those things off. I said, sure. I went, shh, out the window, goes off like this. And when I look at the cars in front of me, I thought, I wonder if we could, like, if I could let it go. Yeah, sure, let's do it. So I said, hey, look at this one. And I let it, and just before we go off, I drop it, and the thing would go, shoo, up to the next car.
Like we were shooting at cars.
Oh. And then I lit another one off that I didn't know was connected to the other fuse. And of course, top of the car. Let's see, it's another story. J.P. Cunningham.
What did I do this time?
This
Go on.
is, I don't think it's 87, I want to say it's 87. And I think it's Lou. You had the hots for, was it, am I right, Lou?
Yeah.
Lou Hartman.
It's late, it's probably after 12, maybe it's 1 o'clock, and I get this on the door, where I go, it's a house. I open the door and it's JP, his comb over is all the other way.
That's you.
Chowder! Yeah, Jay, what's up? Every conceivable position! It was good, I know it made your day, but that's it for my story.
I gotta finish that story.
Tag team.
Yes, Johnny.
So Chow actually kind of stole my one story I have on JP, but it ties in. Because right after that, he comes to the sleeper. And we're all in our bunks, we got the curtains all pulled, and I hear talk, right on that. So, what is it? I opened it up, and there's JP in the same condition. Sea hunt, every conceivable position. There you go. And then he's like, yeah. And so.
I think he also said, I sucked your toes.
No, that's I had an attraction.
That might have been actually the same night, or it seems like it, that, once he went to everyone's bunk and did that. And then eventually he went back to his trailer, and probably still, But, Jay, only you know.
I know.
But, I think that was the same night that, or it was close by, the troll came in really late, and he's going, because I'm like the first bunk you come to. Right? And so he's, sea hunt, she had braces.
Who said that, troll?
Troll. Wow. And he was 4 sheets to the wind for sure. But I want to tell a story which is not a funny one, but it's one that sticks with me, from the circus. And I think since you're collecting stories, this one is a good one to have. Mud was my my partner in crime for many things. That just a short time. It seems like you were on there for a long time, but you weren't. I mean, you were there for
a season and a half. I came
yeah.
out in July '87.
Just seems like but so one night, we're finishing up. I think we were both doing cherry pie with Cunningham that year, and so we're finishing up. And I'm not driving the sleeper that year, so and we're at a mall, and so we're heading over to the mall or over to maybe where my car was, because I had a car that year. That's right. And so we see this commotion, and all of a sudden we see these working pies dragging this dude, on the concrete, and just leaving him on the concrete, and he looks like he's been beaten within an inch of his life, and we weren't sure whether he was alive or not. And so paramedics show up, and they start working on this guy, and they go, no, in the tent, and they just leave him there. And so they go into the tent, and there's one of the working guys, sort of lying on a stack of, I guess, the boards or something like that. And he's an African-American guy, and he's white as a sheet. And he's got a big hole in his chest.
Oh, God.
Yeah, one of the working guys had stabbed him with like a hunting knife, and he didn't make it.
He died.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we saw it right there. It was the first time I'd ever seen something like that. And it's a story I tell about the circus, because, it's the kind of stuff that you see that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But, so let's see if I can think of another one that'll kind of bring us back up. Let's see. No, I can't tell that. There's a lady present. I'm just not going to. So I'm going to respect that.
Wow.
I feel like we're an alcoholic.
Hi, I'm Pete. I'm a circus junkie.
Continuation for German.
Hi, Pete.
I gotta finish Rocky Hill. Chowder and I are both only wearing 70s groovy style jogging shorts, and that's all. So when he's lost, Chowder's got his big white afro. He was pretty well built back then, so but he's got nothing but shorts on. That was one of my favorites. I got another funny Chowder story that he told me about. I still can't remember the full details, but drugs are involved, so we bought some drugs. I didn't think they were good enough. Do you remember any of this? Because if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't. Anyways.
Extracurricular entertainment.
Yeah. So I'm take me back to where we got these. We got the guy I bought this shit from, and Chowder's with us. It's after showtime. We're in the middle of freaking nowheres. The guy takes me back to, I guess, the dealer. I'm still fuzzy on all this, because I'm trying to tell him, hey man, this isn't good cocaine, and we want our money back. And right, he pulled a gun and held it to your temple, and we kept it. There's so many other ones, and jackknife in the tractor trailer in front of the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
When we were driving the clown sleep from Pittsburgh, Fort Myers to Pittsburgh.
That's a
Remember
joke.
guys standing on the side of the road.
Keep going.
That was the indoor tour.
It's nighttime and we hear these truckers talking, hey, there's a pervert up here. And I was driving the sleeper, you were shotgun the concert. He was naked leaning on the back of his car. And then he'd jump in his car and pass everybody again. And then get out on the back of his car again.
I don't, but I know why.
And he reaches down and, the truck drivers are going, someone's gonna call the police on this pervert or whatever. You see him up there on the side of the road, he found like a Coors Light bottle underneath. We're going about 50 and you can throw a beer bottle about 30 for sure. We didn't see him anymore.
I think when we were doing the battle rockets and the one went up inside the cab, that was real fun too. I can remember breaking down with Tex. This is on 76 when we were still all battery powered. And Tex had bought these headphones and he had a Radio Shack dual headphone jack. And he was my shotgun for driving the van sleeper, which I learned how to drive in Hippo's van. I drove around the block in Volusia County and I had a chauffeur's license. And now I'm driving a tractor trailer.
That's how I learned.
Hey, I get that.
Oh, look out. Go for it. Hi there.
I'll tell a couple, I gotta head out.
Well, hello, are you talking to me?
We are now.
So, I am so sorry I couldn't be there, but who's in the room?
None of us.
Oh,
that's good.
yeah. Go
But
ahead.
nobody was making that horrible music, were they?
You can't recognize us? What's wrong with you, Judy?
There.
Too many years, too many donuts.
Yes. Go ahead and set it. There. All right. So.
All right, cool.
Shoat. Shoat. Chris Price, Shoat face.
Pig can.
Yes.
Did Clark, wait a minute, did anybody tell you about the pig can reference that I made? Since I'm in Los Angeles, we have the Orange County Fair, and they have a 24/7 pig cam on, so you can see all the little baby pigs and what they're doing and their errands, any time of the day or night.
Beautiful. Have you named any?
Told me she was
No, 3 years ago I was there, but wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, hold on. So the last time I was at the Orange County Fair, because I try and go every year, they have the best pig races known to mankind, and I was first in line to get my picture taken with the winning pig.
Yay.
It's beautiful.
So cute, I just loved it. Okay, so where is this taking place? Where are you?
Sarasota.
Yeah, we're in Sarasota, Florida. You've heard of it.
I've lived there many times.
Yes, yes. You are joined in Zoomville by Annie Rawls, now Anna Iker.
Hey Annie, how are you?
And yeah, we've got a bunch of people here.
Should we all stand up and say, come on?
Yeah.
Gerbil face drummer, JP Cunningham.
Good God.
Trombone, you
So
remember
cool.
me.
Yes, I do. I remember every one of you.
Here's another one.
I have incriminating photographs of
And we
everyone.
do too.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. You know, that's actually a little reference to Kim Kardashian, if I may say so. And I follow the Kardashians. I keep up.
Oh boy. So what do you do now, or what are you doing?
Okay, so I've been doing divorce. So, okay, let's just backtrack. Booking, music, headliner, and cover band acts for private events from 1989 until about 8 or 9 years ago. And then for some odd reason, I transitioned to be a mediator, and I was going to be a mediator for musicians, traveling celebrity bands. And I don't know if you can see this, but I started promoting myself as the backstage diplomat, giving my circus training good use. And that was okay for a while, but then for some reason, life just moved me in the direction of mediation. And one thing led to another, and I bought this company called Divorce Resource. I became a paralegal, filing for divorce without an attorney, and mediating. Okay, so that was all fine, well, and good until people started hating me and giving me really bad Yelp reviews, and I don't know why. So I thought, well, this can't keep going on like this. So I developed a public speaking career, and that's how I'm transitioning right now. I'm my own little speaking act, and I started getting speaking gigs already.
Beautiful.
And I talk about how to take people who are going through divorce and getting them to use work as their respite and not doing their divorce during the day. And I speak to law groups. My title is Raising the Bar on the Attorney Brand. I want to change the image of attorneys, which is actually well earned from sharks and not so well-meaning people, to trusted people.
And you're living in LA.
And I'm in LA.
Wow.
So that's what I'm doing.
Beautiful.
The divorce stuff sounds really boring to everybody, but it's
Unless you're getting
actually...
divorced, then it doesn't.
Well, the stories I could tell.
Tell one.
Yeah, come on, tell us one good one.
Okay, so one that just happened yesterday was a gal calls me, referred to me by one of my former assistants who only has crazy friends. They're all in seriously significant trouble, and they have to get divorced. So this one lovely sounding woman, 2 children, teenagers, needs to get divorced because her husband is no longer sober after 20 years. And we're talking about crystal meth and high-end drugs. We spent a lot of time talking about how to make that work, 45 minutes. And as I was saying goodbye, she forgot to say one thing, and that was, oh yeah, Judy. The other thing I'm a little concerned about is that my soon-to-be ex-husband wants to get his manslaughter charge expunged from 30 years ago so that he can buy a firearm now.
Oh, great.
It's really nice, you know.
So yeah, little things like that, And then I forgot, I have a podcast. The podcast is called The Amicable Divorce Expert. And the last Wednesday of every, I upload every Wednesday. The last Wednesday of every month is devoted to celebrity divorces, because I wanted to have some fun and look at, well, what are the issues in the celebrity divorces that are the same issues in the non-celebrity divorces? And about 2 months ago, I did a comparative study of Johnny Depp versus Billy Ray Cyrus. Johnny Depp, we don't need to go into, we already know what's going on with him. But with Billy Ray Cyrus, it was really amicable. I pulled down a press release and it looked great. And so I went through this whole episode with these 2 divorces and how different they were. Well, lo and behold, 2 weeks ago, I get a call from Billy Ray Cyrus.
Wow, nice.
I am now his coach. It's not that amicable anymore, and it's because the attorneys got involved and saw dollar signs and just started doing things that were unnecessary, and so now his life is kind of turned around. And so he wants to do an episode with me when the divorce is over. He wants to talk about it. But he said, Judy, everything you said was right. It was totally amicable. This is great. He's quoting me. And he said, I sent this to our attorneys to show them how it's supposed to be. And then it didn't turn amicable. And so I was explaining to him how to deal, how to take charge. And I did a recent episode on you control your attorney-client relationship. take charge, get educated, and you lead the way. And he sent that to his attorneys. And one of his kids is an attorney. And he sent everything to that son, and the son, Judy's right, she's right. Just do what she says and you'll be fine.
Cool.
And it's so bizarre to have somebody actually say, I'm doing what you said, and I'm like, oh no, I never thought about that part. That anybody would actually do what I say.
Well,
This-
don't break his achy, breaky heart.
Good,
No,
good.
Couldn't resist, I'm sorry.
Anna,
I think she's on mute.
were you gonna say something?
No, I was just saying, you know, he made the joke about don't break his achy, breaky heart. And I said, that's a groaner. Come on, original content.
We repurpose original, that's what we do.
Good, Judy.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
So, is anybody working in entertainment or music?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
And,
everybody.
and what are you doing?
Playing circus tunes.
No, like actually for money.
Well, actually, we're both at Disney.
We both play at Disney. We're the same band together.
Yep.
Jairus? Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We're both at Disney. We're both at Magic Kingdom, playing the
Magic Kingdom Disney.
Doing what?
Playing.
We're in the band, Main Street
Oh,
Philharmonic.
cool.
Yeah.
What, is it Dixieland or what kind of music?
A little bit of everything, mostly Disney, you know, of course, Disney classics. but yeah, we do a little bit of everything.
in various styles, you know.
We did do a circus show. There's a circus part of the park for a little while. We did a circus theme show, which was fun.
That'd be fun.
And I did a Jumping Jim Beatty act.
Yeah, he was comic relief, our Daredevil, tongue-in-cheek Daredevil.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Funny times.
All right. I am going to, let's see, is this working? I don't know if the camera's on.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah, one more story about, I think it was Binghamton, New York. It was somewhere close to PA. And I think my bike had been stolen. So I was trying to buy a new bike and had $200 in my pocket to buy a new bike, but had not found one. I was walking away from the circus along some unlit road, and a car pulled by me and then blocked me off. And three guys got out of the car. One guy had a hand behind his back, and I had been meditating as I was walking about death, thinking, what is that going to be like? How am I going to meet it? Yeah, or something. And then these three guys get out, and they're being threatening, and one big guy was saying, "This is it. We're going to kill you." And you know, I had this sense of acceptance of, well, that's cool, but you know,
I gotta play later.
so. The big one had said, "Do you have any money?" And I said, "Sure." And reached in and pulled out the $200, said, "Here." He said, "Holy shit, that's a lot of money. That's
It's too much of what?
that's too much. Can I only keep a little of it?" And handed it, and then said, no, I'll take it back. And he was obviously drunk, and he finally broke down and started crying and said, "Damn it, I was robbing you, and and he slammed his hand down on the asphalt, and he had been holding a shot glass in his hands and cut his hand so he was bleeding. And I said, oh my God, I got my handkerchief, and we were stopping that. His friends had had enough of him, got in the car, drove away, and left me on the lonely, unlit road with the would-be murderer robber who was bleeding and sobbing. I'm sorry, I'll give your money back. And he couldn't find the money. And I said, it's okay. And we walked along a ways until we got to somewhere that he knew. And then I went back to the show and just thought, that happened. That was weird. I wonder what I learned from that.
You never know.
You never know. One other mystical time was when the show played Goshen, Connecticut. We were in a fairgrounds, and I think most of the people went to Torrington, because of course Torrington is the big city. And there weren't many people on the show left. We had a night off. And the Northern Lights started happening right overhead, and it was unbelievable. And it was Ranch, his girlfriend Gina, and maybe Slim Pickens, somebody just lying down where the tent was going to be, but it wasn't there, looking up at this amazing display of lights. And it felt like, the times in your life when the fabric between, God or something mystical and yourself is so thin. It was just a, incredible experience that I've held with me. And I told that story at Ranch's funeral. Just because, I felt then like he was on the other side of the veil then, and there was something there, and I'm sorry those weren't very funny, but
They were great.
Still
Yeah.
great stories.
I got one more.
See, you got something?
Yeah. All right, raise your hand if you've been playing on the bandstand and one of the wild animals has gotten out and anywhere near you. I think we all have experienced that to some degree. I'm just going to share the one I remember. It was, I forget where we were playing. I think it was down south somewhere. But of course, this is the year we had the Bear Act. And so, the guy leads the bears in, does the thing, we play the music, and, he leads the bears back out. Well, one of the baby bears that day decided, you know what, you guys go ahead. I'm gonna go check out this bandstand. And so he comes around the way, and of course, at that time, my spot was right next to the ladder. And so sure enough, baby bear's climbing up the ladder. I look up at Mouse, and he says, go on. And I look over there, and baby bear didn't look like he was going to maul me or anything, but who knows? And the guy came around. What was the bear guy's name that year?
Or,
Was it
Weldy,
yeah, Weldy, that's right. Yeah, he came up and manhandled the bear down, and I just thought, okay, well, my pants are dry. And I stayed in my spot while a bear was coming up the stage, so I've earned my place in the circus. The only other time I remember it was we were doing it, and Mark Hand had his cats, and one of the tigers got out of the cage. They left the door open, and so the tigers wander around the midway, and the people are just going nuts. Wah! This is the end of the world. And we were keeping playing, of course, and eventually they got the guys to get him back in. But I thought, wow, this cat's just kind of looking around like what are these people freaking out about? But those are my animal remembrances. Oh, except for the cat just barely missing us on the way out when the female cats just turned around and just laid a stream right towards the bandstand.
Then you go about 20 feet.
Yeah, and just barely missed us. I think Cunningham and Creeper would have gotten the brunt of it at the time, but.
Creeper's okay, but not us. Well, they should. I got 3 quick animal stories.
Sure, go tell some animal stories.
I got a few.
Repeat, you gonna talk?
No, I got one before I go.
Go for it.
This one's not a funny story, but we were in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they didn't allow bull rides in Tennessee anymore. So Johnny Pugh decides to bring the trucks over the mountains, even though they weren't apportioned for Tennessee. So Joyce and I were moving down the road, and we came across one of the seat trucks, and it was one of our friends, one of the Russian Air Force flying act. So we stopped to see if he had any water and all that stuff. So just as we did that, got out of the truck and went and talked to him and all that stuff, a cop, a state patrol came up, parked in front of in back of our trailer and then in front of the truck. So he starts talking to the driver, and the Russian goes, speak English. He had the Russian accent. So while he's talking to him, Joyce and I, back in our rig, and went on. Well, that night, because they weren't apportioned, the state trooper put an APB out for the show. We got 13 of the 21 trucks, and it cost Johnny Pugh $13,000 in fines. So it was kind of weird because we, on that seat truck, were a bunch of reserve seats, the marquee. I'm trying to think, there was some other things. And so when we opened in Dothan, Alabama, it was really weird because there was no marquee. And the reserves on both sides, the end reserves and the end reserves on both sides of the big top had no seats. So the truck was pulled in the second day. So they went through like 3 shows without a lot of the reserves. The other thing that was memorable is the Flying Act had seven in it, and they did a combination. Becky knows, she's seen that show, Becky's Lawyer. So they had 7, and they were combination Flying Act and Casting Act. So they had the perch and the catcher, and they had higher platforms, perches, further back and higher. So Costa did the thing, they'd throw them from the top down and then throw them to the catcher. So Costa, one of the Russians, he came down from the top perch, went down, and then they slung him to the catcher. Well, as they swung through, he went out through the apron and landed in center ring. They had the act set up in ring 3, and the band was flying above the the performer's entrance about 20, 30 feet in the air. And so they helicoptered him out. We were in Toms River, New Jersey. And so it was a Sunday afternoon, so we made the 17-mile jump to Belmont. And so we went out to eat with the bull superintendent. And so we're coming back to the lot, and we're walking down the trailer line, and you come to Costa's trailer, obviously. So we look down the side of his trailer, and there he sits in the lawn chair, and looked at him, and he went like this. He didn't work for 2 months, is that busted up. He did the same thing 2 years later in the same town.
Oh, wow.
So that's it. Glad to be.
Not funny, but wow.
I have to take off in a minute, so I wanted to get a quick one in. Stinger from near the last 2 years with Mouse. I was out 95 and 96, but the good stories are 95. We were out with the Pig Act. We were talking about this one last night. It's one of the Bale sisters, I think, had a big act. It was like, yeah, it was hit or miss, you know how those things go. Well, I specifically remember Chowder's visiting the show, and it was back when Opie was playing euphonium and keyboards in the back. So he would have a euphonium mic that would hang down, and sometimes if he was standing up, it would be like really close listening, you'd have to be careful. Well, Big Act's going pretty lame that night, pretty lame. So it was like a lot of dead air. He looks over, he's looking at us, he's like, is there something wrong? And Opie, forgot my mic was right here, and dead air in the tent. No, it's always this bad. And the whole band lost it. We got the death look, you know, from Bonnie. And we're just dying. This one over here, JP's just, on the thing, it was hilarious. And then the other one was, he would do those big glisses on the Kent Clown Act. They were like the baby character, the baby up.
You gotta have them in there.
Oh yeah. So, save the baby, yeah. So he goes to do that, and nothing comes out of the trombone. It's like clogged, because he used to use the Pond's cold cream on his slide, and it like accumulated in there. So this thing, toward the end, he says, nothing. He looks over at Fly, and he's like, fucking thing's clogged. Like, so then he actually sat up. He got up, took his foot off the stool, sat up, and just splat right out of the bell, this big gray glob. Just hits the bandstand. Everybody loses it. And the only two guys that are left playing are Mouse, Cheese, and Kanker. Drums, bass, Mouse up front. And we're done. Oh, battery's dead. Anyway, so this is sitting down there. Mouse doesn't know what's going on. He's playing. Kanker looks over and he's like, he's trying. Kanker keeps just playing. Cheese is trying to hold it together. Mouse finally turns around and we're like, fine. And he starts to lose it. So they finally, everybody got through it. And Jimmy's sitting on the side of the bandstand with a bunch of circus bands. And this one, man, as soon as it gets done, he looks down at the circus bands and goes, hey, you want me to scrape it up so you can try to sell it? And that was just the rest of the band. That was one of my most memorable things of the music business. That was so much fun. But hey, thanks for letting me be part of this, guys. I got to head back out. I'm part of this crew.
Dude, before you take off, let's get a trumpet picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wait, I have a famous band story.
All right.
Hear this one.
Okay, it'll be the last story. How many of you in the room were present with me at the radio station in New Bedford, Massachusetts, where the only requirement was to not mention the little boy who got his arm eaten by the lion the previous year?
In Crawfordsville.
I have a tape of that.
You have a picture?
Yeah.
I believe that was you, Chris, that may have been that broke code.
Yeah. And I have a tape of that interview that I found. It's in New Bedford.
You really?
It was supposed to be a Swine Act showed up, so that happened.
Your butt face.
Maybe I didn't let it play it before I came to visit here.
Must look.
I don't.
It's gotta be trumpet lips, right?
Yeah, trumpet lick.
Is that something you arranged?
Yes.
Get them up there.
Yeah, I came across that.
I believe that was the last band interview I ever scheduled.
Really,
That was it.
I broke the rules.
It was a good one
A little
anyway.
tighter there, Mr.
Dude.
Nice seeing you, Judy.
Yes, Judy.
Nice seeing you. I
Holiday
forget.
Christmas days.
But
I'm just gonna leave it open if anything happens. I'm going to my other desk.
Hey, Jim, take a picture. Get a picture of me.
I got a story here.
Couple of, okay, Bob.
Check one, check one.
Okay, there we go. Almost fat. All right.
Oh, and before I leave, this was the sick pig that sent me out there. Unbeknownst to me, he goes, "Hey, I got a gig for you."
Yeah, it's a really good gig. Look good.
Mr. Muggs.
It is a chilly in here.
So I got a couple of seedier stories. I'll keep it clean, fairly G-rated.
All right. Yeah, all the women are wondering.
Yeah, all the women are away right now, so you can do it real quick.
So, let me see. We were in Havelock, North Carolina.
The Rawls dog.
And Havelock, yeah.
Rawls.
And there was a local establishment.
Yeah.
Not far from the lot. And so, of course, the band, we have to go down there. It's a bar that that's a little more revealing, so it was so little Dave, the midget clown. I don't remember his name, but we danced up on the runway that night.
Oh yeah.
We danced, and of course, an inordinate amount of beer was consumed that night. And
You were down to your skivvies.
no, I was not at least not there, not that I know of. But yeah, so we danced on the runway, and it was quite excellent. And the owner came up and said, if my girls would dance half as well as you two just did, they'd be raking in the tips. And Jimmy had a really good relationship. All of us did, I'm sure, with Jimmy James. Great guy. But he really liked me, and his name for me was Biscuit Buns. Because he said, Mud, I just want to knead your buns into dough. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But Jimmy was great. And then Bertini came out end of the season the first year, and he was really, really drunk. And he goes, hey, Mud, let Jimmy do what he wants. He says, it won't hurt that bad, and he'll take care of you for the rest of the season.
Oh my God.
I did not acquiesce. But here's one that's good. It's not so seedy, but Chowder and I, we in that first season, you were getting ready to leave you were going to be leaving in the season. So we were both scuba diving. We'd been certified and stuff. So we had gone scuba diving up in the Foniac Springs, I think, right? Somewhere in the Panhandle. We did that. Yeah, that was cool. So we got to do that. And so when we got to Panama City, you were looking. Chowder found hey, let's go to the jetties. So we went to there was a dive there and they're just off the beach, and it was so we took off in the morning. We got there, we did the dive and everything, and it just so happened that we finished up. We were really hungry, and so we went and grabbed some lunch, and I think we can make it, and it's like, okay, we better get going. So we had to be that, the show was 4 o'clock or something like that.
4:30.
4:30. Okay, so.
How could you forget that?
What? So, anyway, so we take off, and traffic's really bad. Uh-oh. And we're like, the clock is ticking. And we're like, if you've missed downbeat, what were the penalties and stuff? I mean, it was really bad. Traffic was horrendous. And Chowder's getting all worked up, and he went to the asshole school of driving that day, man. And he was coming off the passing cars. I mean, it was embarrassing, but he was doing as best he could. We ended up getting, and by this time we gave up. We knew we were late. We said, okay, we're done. We're going to pay major cases. We're going to pay fines. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. And it ends up, we get into the lot. They had held the show for 30 minutes.
And so we ended up actually making it. The guys, and you guys were like going, oh my God, come on, man, you know, start the show. You want those cases? You want the cases. So it was pretty good. So one of those, man. That's what I'm saying.
I got some animal stories. Let the Nannygoat come home.
Yeah.
I just have one more that I thought of, and it wasn't when I was in the band. I think Becky was there, and possibly JP. So does anybody remember Pat that was the horse groom? Yes. Okay, so Pat carried a menagerie with her. In the sleep, she sleep with 51. So she had all kinds of animals, and she'd get the horses lined up, then she'd go in the sleeper and start taking all the animals out. Well, one of them was a big python. So one night, I forget where it was in Florida here, the python comes up missing. So that's all right. So everybody's looking, but now the show's moving out. So Joyce and I were living in Miami at that time. So we helped Pat, and we're walking around the lot and all that stuff looking for the damn snake. Well, the snake showed up at the next lot, wound around Chris Allen's landing gear on the cat truck.
Wow.
And he's having a great mistake.
Bring out the goat.
Go, Nannygoat.
And let's see, Cunningham, you were there, and
I was there.
I was there. 76.
Charlie Martini wrote this about the ape escape.
Oh, you love this one.
A day and a half after
Great
it finished
escape
up.
in Poughkeepsie, New York.
During last night's performance, this is July 13th, 1976. During last night's performance, a large ape was seen by everyone sauntering down the back track, raving and screeching, extremely confused and bewildered, having never before been out of his cage, still crazy after all these years. The crowd was amused at first, thinking it was an act, or at least a harmless chimp, only dangerous, never insane, always funny. But the masses were quick to learn otherwise, as the circus people seemed a bit upset about the situation. Animal trainers, sideshow staff, and general laborers alike were combining forces to capture the wretched, pitiful beast. About this time, the second primate, even larger than the first, came rather violently pouncing into the big top, and in total viciousness jumped casually into a seat wagon full of humans and scared them to a frenzied panic as they gathered their children and bags and rushed in hordes out of the tent. Some even demanded immediate refunds, $200 worth. Those brave enough to stay witnessed a number of chase scenes, men with nets pursuing the apes, a severely bitten electrician. I have a photo of that over there. Performers huddling in the ring, a terrified elephant who left the tent immediately upon the arrival of the first ape, and of course the hordes that went bustling out of the tent, as frantic, about almost as frantic as the up-tempo circus music that prevailed throughout the entire phenomenon. There were also interesting human aspects involved. The first to act sensibly about the problem was Chief Joseph, multi-talented animal trainer, who entered the tent with a loaf of bread and coolly offered the ape a slice. The ape took the bread, put his arm around the chief, and like old friends, they walked to the midway, mission nearly accomplished, when another performer, uneducated in animal behavior, tried heroically to sneak attack the consoled animal, and I might add, unsuccessfully at that. The chief lost his catch, the sneak lost his Hero of the Week award and got leveled by the ape, and the monkey lost his mind and headed back to the tent. In the course of this madness, the black people, who had at one time all been intermittently seated, seemed to be the first people to fall subject to panic and hysteria, gathering in mobs and crowds in the back of the tent, not realizing that this was also the destination of both apes. The result was that hysterical Negroes and hysterical gorillas all climbing, jumping, and running over the previously empty seats in the back of the tent, each species doing a tremendous job of scaring the other shitless. Meanwhile, there was still a show going on, but it was hardly a full and complete performance. Working crews and performers alike were highly amused and bewildered, laughing and joking at the chasing the existing chaos. Some were frightened, others hurt, but most were involved in the chasing of the fugitives. The apes, still running wild, put the damper on the animal acts, as the horses and dogs would not work for fear of harassment by the escapees. And this presented a huge problem as wardrobe and prop changes depended upon the time span of the animal acts. This timing crisis was solved by a juggling clown, Jimmy Stutz. Did he have a name?
He did have a name, but I can't remember what it was.
Who did an ad-lib set in the center ring while preparations were being made for the bicentennial production number. The band played on. Eventually, one aide was stopped by 2 shots of tear gas by animal trainer Dave Hoover, while the other, obviously fed up with show business, took to the trees. Upon latest report, the ape's location is a swamp behind the shopping center in Poughkeepsie, New York. Reinforcements for the capture include Dave Hoover, firemen, policemen, reporters, and a heavily armed platoon from the National Guard. Surrounded, but yet uncaptured, the ape finally surrendered for one reason or another and emerged from a thicket into full view of the rifled and helmeted guards. And even the feeble mind of that scared monkey must have found it humorous to see the men scattering wildly, certain they were being attacked by a wild circus gorilla on the loose. Epilogue. Toby was finally lured to his capture by a female chimp from the local zoo. His adventure into the jungle of humanity lasted 5 days. Toby is presently being kept in the Poughkeepsie City Jail until he is redeemed by the circus. Charles Anthony Bertini.
Well, that's good. I love it.
Does anybody else have? Yes, great. We have more food, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, Mr. Butt, what do you do?
Yeah, I think Shoat might remember this story. I was on the show in 77 and 78. I started, I was 18 years old when I got the job from Charlie Bertini. And, you know, being 18 years old, it was kind of exciting when I first got on the show to realize that one of the elephant trainer's daughters was attracted to me. And I was ultimately dating one of the Logan girls for a little while in the first year. And you know how these things are when you're young. You know, it was kind of like budding romance that went away, you know, as the little kids as we were. She was younger than me. So the next year, 78, she decides she's going to date somebody else, and that's fine. You know. It's a clown. And his name is Coolface. And she and I were friends. And you know, when you're this age and you're friends, you know, you say things, maybe you got to be careful what you say and so forth. And she asked me what I thought of her new flame. And I guess that maybe I wasn't as complimentary about him as I should have been, or I should have been a little more astute. And of course, she was sworn to secrecy, which she blew that. And apparently, he was not particularly happy with, you know, my assessment of him. And so it was right after a show. Must have been a late show. There was a lot that had a Wendy's restaurant in Benton Harbor, Michigan. And there was also, sharing that parking lot was a Pizza Hut. So after the show, of course, the clowns got out before we did. And after the show, Shoat, me, and Salamander, and was there somebody else? It might have been just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Might have been Duck, but maybe the 3 of us. We go over to the Wendy's restaurant to eat dinner, and Coolface had been over at the Pizza Hut doing a slow burn, right? So he sees us walk into this Wendy's, and he decides he's going to have it out with me. So of course, the Wendy's is packed with people after the show and so forth. So I'm just at the cashier's register, you know, paying for the thing. You know how these Wendy's restaurants are. And he comes blasting in, a bunch of people in line behind me, and he starts yelling at me like, you know, this far away from me, and there's a chain and the cash register and so forth. And the lady behind the cash register, she's kind of listening to all this, and I said, fortunately, she heard me, and she kind of see I was kind of the victim here. I said, I don't know what to do about this. I'll do the best I can. You know, I'll try to, you know, shut this down. So I got my meal, and we all got our meals. We got into the, you know, condiment area and so forth, and Shoat was there, and Salamander, and I had my tray in my hand, and Coolface comes around the whole crowd. He comes back through the crowd, and he comes up and he starts yelling in my face. You know, all the people wondering what's going on, and he starts, and he pushes me on the shoulder. You know, Shoat apparently had set down his meal. I had both of my hands full, and you know, Shoat is a good guy. He's a protective fellow, and he took that opportunity with this little shove on one shoulder to just haul off and cold cock Cool Face, and he went out, he pancaked the first table with his family of 4, French fries flying all over the place, you know. And so during the melee, of course, all kinds of chaos going on. There's a number of things thrown and, you know, food flying around and so on. And then we hear the, you know, the sirens and the police, you know, come show up. And so fortunately, they interviewed, of course, a number of the people. They interviewed the manager, and they interviewed the cashier lady, and they were determining that I was really the victim of all this. So the police, after interviewing people, they came up and they approached me and they said, "Would you like to press charges?" I said, "Well, of course, I'm 18 years old. I'm pissed off, you know. I'll think about that. Maybe I will. You know, we're going to be in town for a couple of days." So that whole thing broke up then, and we all went our separate ways. I went back to the sleeper, and word spread quite quickly around the show that you know, we had this little altercation, and that the trumpet player is thinking about pressing charges against the clown. And before you know it, I get a little notice from Bertini. He says, "Yeah, Johnny Pugh would like to talk with you in the trailer up in the front." Okay, so I go up, I have an idea what he wants to talk about. So I say, "Hey, come on in, Jim. What do they call you, butt face?" Yeah, okay. So I go in, and he said, "So I understand you had a little altercation at the Wendy's restaurant, and things didn't go too well." I said, "Well, actually, I was all pissed off. You know, I'm 18 years old and still kind of hot." And I said, "Yeah, I have an opportunity to press charges, and I think I should." And he says, "You know, I wouldn't do that if I were you." He said, "Because I'm sure the owner's going to read the papers, and it's going to say," he was the general manager at the time, "and can you imagine the headline? Clown not so friendly in Wendy's restaurant." Can you imagine the publicity that would surround all of that? So I just dropped the whole thing, but so I got out of it without any injury, any scuffs, any marks. I basically just stood there with my tray while everybody else was fighting. And Salamander got bopped in the chops, couldn't play for several days, if I recall. So yeah, it was quite an altercation, but there was nothing in the paper. I have no record, he has no record, and I'm sure if I were to meet Cool Face at this point, we'd probably be good friends. Well,
He'd still be pissed.
He'd still be pissed off. But anyway, that was my story, and Shoat was there to help.
They have a salad bar in Wendy's still there?
Yeah. Was there maybe some things from the salad bar may have ended up on the floor? It's possible. So yeah, we were not doing the circus any publicity favors by being there. But anyway, that was my story.
Yes, Bud.
And I have another one about Bertini, but I'll tell that one later. I guess we have another story time. It's some later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were talking about Bertini. We have a follow up on that.
Oh. So you must have some stories, so.
I went to Fredoni, I didn't know